Let us now cut across to Rimjhim Sinha, the person, the leader of this very movement, Reclaim the Night, Women Reclaim the Night, Raat Dokhol Karo. Let me just introduce her to our bulletin and to our viewers for that matter. Rimjhim, a very good afternoon to you and thank you for joining us at News 9. Rimjhim, the first question that comes to our mind at this given point is, you were the one who came up with this movement. It's a movement that had started back in London in the Leeds University, and then we see a unique movement of this sort that's never seen before in the city of Kolkata, to raise the voices of women. And then at one given location, we see a mob of 5,000 people coming in and sabotaging this movement. According to you, who do you think, in fact, was this planned, and who do you think was behind maybe such a sabotage? And what do you feel about this movement now after this this incident took place yesterday night, and this is what happened in Kolkata yesterday night?
So the first thing that I would want to say that it is very overwhelming to see the response that I received last night. Of course, I had expected a lot of people to come on the streets and be in favor of this movement, be in favor of the call, reclaim the right to be outside their homes in the night and claim it according to how they please. Uh, but while the program was going on, I got to know about this news. And I think this comes as a more practical version of maligning the movement, maligning the idea of so many people coming out to actually protest, to actually want justice, to actually want an end to all the cases that are coming out. They gathered in a lot of places in Kolkata, and all they wanted for themselves was to ensure that no other rape or murder, no other gender violence comes across to us, and we get to talk about it, we get to learn about it more frequently in our school curriculums and through structural changes. All of them had gathered there to see this problem handled from the very root of it. So I think just as while the social media posts were going on, while I was trying to post and trying to reach out to people who had responded to the call, there were a lot of fake news, a lot of hatred that was being spewed against this campaign, against this movement, especially TMC, who's in power in this state, kept on saying that they see it as a farce, they see it as a provocation to instigate people against the government and whatnot. This movement, this call was only to ask for justice, to ask for security, to ask for rights that we all deserve. And we are still waiting for it. We are trying to achieve it in West Bengal. So I think this is just a practical implication where they wanted to malign the movement in such a way that because there was a call for every normal common citizen to come out on the streets, so this was also a call for instigating a riot. This was also a call for instigating violence. And so that this whole call gets to be maligned, gets to be turned into a negative phenomena.
Rimjhim, coming back to you, you know, this movement, in fact, has created an impact not just within the nation, rather across the nation, but also worldwide. We've seen posters coming in from the US, we've seen posters coming in from different places like Oslo and various other locations globally. So this, in fact, had a global impact as well. But given the events of last night, do you think there was some sort of a conspiracy that was also at play to remove the focus from the women, the highlight of this movement, the women going out and reclaiming the night? That is my first question. And my second question to you is, what were the police doing? Do you have any reports? Do you have any information from your friends who were probably at the Arjikor area attending this movement there? What do you know about where the police were? Because we couldn't see any of the police being deployed in these areas for 45 minutes when these miscreants came out.
To answer your first question, I'd like to say that I've always believed that every time there are a lot of people who stay in favor of the system that is in place. They don't want to change it. They want it to be as it is so that their own power stays in hand and they keep on oppressing on people who belong to marginalized communities. This call was against this kind of a system. It was against building a newer system if required and bringing structural changes into the entire system of working that people are a part of. So definitely, I think this was a conspiracy to dismantle this movement uh, because these people who hold the power, they were at the verge and they are at the verge. They fear that their power to oppress marginalized communities would go away. They would suffer at the hands of the common people, the idea of the common people, because this call reaching so many places creates one thing for sure. It makes it the most powerful force that wants structural change. It makes it the most powerful force that rejects the idea of victim blaming. It rejects the idea of constantly saying that it is the victim's fault if something criminal happens to her or anyone else. So it is definitely seeming like a conspiracy. To answer your second question, I would like to say that I got to know from various friends of mine who were at Arjikor or who were close by or who came into news through social media that the police was actually trying to create a ruckus on the other hand while these miscreants were there. They almost came and made allegations to the students who were there at the movement who were there asking for justice, that this was basically because you are here and because you are trying to create problems and because these kind of calls are coming out. So the police was trying to malign the students movement, malign the whole idea of asking for justice, and this is not what is expected out of a police force, at least never in Kolkata.
This ghastly incident that's taken place. Rimjim, I'm coming back to you. There's a very important point that's been raised by one of the protesters we were just listening into, as well as you when you started off the movement. I remember you saying that this wasn't a movement per se. You had just asked some of your friends to collect and come in and ask seek for justice for the victim here, and it just turned out to be such a movement because of the rage that is currently there burning within the people of Kolkata at this given point. And one very important point that you had mentioned was this is not a political movement. But given the developments of last night, do you think there was some sort of a conspiracy to give this a political color of some sort?
While I was trying to advocate for my movement, for my call, and reach out to the people who responded to it, what I was trying to explain that this is not a political movement in the sense that no parliamentary political party or any of their organizations are welcome, because I think we always see politics and political presence in the way of parliamentary politics, and we see it only getting represented in the Rajya Sabhas or Lok Sabhas, and it does not always transcend into the changes that we want in our everyday life. I think that when common people come and make a rally because they do not have water services in their area, that has its own form of politics. I think when Adivasis march for their right to their land, I think that has its own kind of politics. I think when a lot of rapes happen one after the other and women march on the streets without any political color or without any political flag of the parliamentary political parties, it has its own politics. So I think we need to extend our definition of politics. I think we need to understand an alternative to the kind of politics we've been accustomed to all these days. And I believe that everyone who had come, who had gathered here, also have their own kind of politics. They are in favor of justice. They are in favor of ensuring that patriarchal mindset gets removed. They are in favor of ensuring structural changes into their daily lives. This is also a kind of politics. This is also a kind of taking a stand for what I want in my life. And I believe that this is an alternative. This should be embraced. And this is the politics that we all need to subscribe to understand and evaluate and make it more inclusive.
Okay, Rimjim, before I let you go, let's quickly take a minute to educate our viewers. In the aftermath of that unfortunate incident, we have seen advisories from colleges, we have seen advisories from various public institutions asking women to come back, be at their homes by 6 p.m., not make sure to venture out at night. Your movement, Reclaim the Night, in the context of all these advisories, where do you see your movement going, and why is it that important for women to reclaim the night? Let's quickly try and understand the reasoning behind the movement. Let's also understand and educate people as to why it's important for women not to be asked to be sent back at home or to remain at home, and why it's important for women to be out there. Perhaps there needs to be a change in narrative when it comes to who should be reclaiming the night and why women should be out on streets.
Right. So, reclaiming the night means something was already there, something was supposed to be not discriminated against, but it has been according to societal norms. Women going out in the night, or marginalized gender community identifying persons going out in the night, always brings a certain kind of character certificate with it. It is as if this person is good and this person is bad. If we see two men talking to each other at 2 o'clock in the night at any space, there will not be any questions raised on their character. But if the same is done by two women, perhaps a lot of questions will be raised on their character. When a woman comes home at 11 or at 12 in the night, they are subjected to certain claims that they definitely belong to a certain kind of profession. They must have a lot of sexual connotations related to their profession, and this needs to stop.
Absolutely.
My entire
It needs to stop,
claim
Rinjam.
was that
I've run out of time, but thank you very much. I think that's the education we should take away from your movement and from all the students out there who are making their voices heard. It needs to stop. It is not about women being out at night. It's about their safety. The night belongs to them as much to any person, any other gender out there. Rimjim, thank you very much for what you're doing, and thank you for taking time out to talk to us here on News9 Live.